Hi all, welcome back to the final whistle then for another match preview on the channel. I'm going to be joined by Manny Singh Kang, a Wolves fan then. We're going to get the lowdown on Wolves ahead of the weekend as they've just announced their manager Vitor Pereira taking over this weekend after the sacking of Gary O'Neill last weekend after the defeat to Ipswich. So we're going to get the lowdown on Wolves. We're going to chat all things Leicester versus Wolves at the weekend, especially Conor Coady, who is very good friends with Manny. So, yeah, I'm sure Manny will be looking forward to seeing Conor Coady this weekend. Guys, as always, get involved. Hit that like button for me. Subscribe to the channel if you're new and you haven't subscribed to the Final Whistle. Please get down and do so. It would help me out massively. Let's see who's in the chat. Duncan, how are you? Merry Christmas and to all. Hello. Ian, how are you, mate? Hope you're good. Evening, Terry. Evening, Ray. Great picture with you and Jamie. I mean, yeah, it's always great to meet a legend in it of the game, and yeah, it's a privilege to be in the presence of an absolute GOAT. So, you know, yeah, fantastic to meet Vardy. Let's get my guest in, Mr. Manny Singh Kang. He's a Wolves fan. Manny, how are you, mate?
How you doing? You okay, mate?
I'm okay, mate. How are you?
A few, normal internet issues. So I've just grabbed my phone. So good to join you, man. Good to join you for a battle of the basement.
Yeah, this one's a huge game, isn't it, Manny? Leicester v Wolves.
I don't think we've had anything but huge games this season. The way our season's gone. So yeah, this is like we're in a dire situation. Let's just say. So huge, massive game.
Manny, before we kick on with the game, let everybody know where they can find you, mate, and what you do regarding is it the Wolverhampton Wanderers Foundation, is it, that you do?
Yeah, so I do a bit for them, but I'm an ambassador for Dementia UK, so I fundraise for them, do, a bit of fundraising involving the football club. I walked to Newcastle away in March from Wolverhampton, which a few hundred miles, and Chelsea before, and do something called Samosa Saturday, which we make samosas at home and we serve them to Wolves fans before the game. So it's been quite a roller coaster of a ride over the last few years with the on and off the pitch, with Wolves getting into the Premier League and doing so well, getting to Europe, and then this slump that we're pretty much on right now, that we need to get out of very quickly. So yeah, at Pedal Sing on Twitter, and all the other socials. You find me on Manny Singh Kang, and yeah, I've got a London Marathon next year, so that's what I'm training for at the moment. Should be number 5. So yeah, lots of events to raise for a good cause. And the one thing I have to say is, when I've walked to Chelsea and when I've went to Newcastle and Liverpool before on my bike, the away fans are incredible, and causes like this, they bring people together, and the rivalry goes to the wayside. So every person should be trying to help others if they can.
Fantastic. All the best with the London Marathon, of course, the training and that goes into it. A great charity, of course, that you do and raise money for. So all the best with that as well.
Thank you.
Manny, talk to me about your love for Wolves. I mean, where did it start? All-time favourite player? I mean, talk to me about that.
Well, you know what? As you can see, I'm a Sikh, and traditionally in our households, football wasn't a thing. So it wasn't from my granddad or my dad, or it wasn't something that's passed down. It was pretty much playing for a Sunday league football team, and the lads took me to a Wolves game, and we were rock bottom then. We were in the 4th division, the old 4th division, which is League 2 now. And I was thinking, what am I doing here? And it was actually the first year of the playoffs. This playoff system started in 1987, and it was
Yeah.
the first ever year. So that was my first game, and you could probably tell, from there, Steve Bull started his career pretty much from that moment onwards. Scored 102 goals in those 2 seasons, and went on to play for England, went to the World Cup. So he became, I think, everybody's hero in Wolverhampton. It was like the obvious hero. He stuck out, by a mile. And since then, these days that we've had recently have been our glory days. So, players like Ruben Neves and Joe Moutinho playing, Conor Coady, we've mentioned him,
Yeah.
Raul Jimenez, and we've had some really, really top players recently who sadly we've lost. And so yeah, man, I remember Steve Ball's battles with Steve Walsh.
Yeah, I was about to mention the rivalry between both.
There was a few,
I think they
it
both
was
ended up
proper.
getting sent off when
Yeah, he
Leicester.
did. Yeah, but it was like, you know what? Off the pitch, I'm pretty sure they just shook hands and just went face to face, and it was just normal centre half against centre forward, where you had a mutual respect for each other, and there's no shenanigans. There was no, antics that you see in modern day football. It was just two people going for it who wore their club on their heart, didn't they? They wore it. They wore their heart on their sleeve, and they gave everything for their club. So. Brilliant battles to see, and Buddy got sent off. I think was it once, was it? He flung his arm out or something.
Yeah.
I can't remember. Something happened. I thought it's been
Yeah,
that long.
Them two never got on the pitch. I think one got sent off in one game, one got sent off in another, and it's like,
you
don't really see eye to eye on a football pitch. But you know what defenders and strikers are like? They like to grab each other and pull each other
pretty
about.
much. Well, Steve Walsh was your typical. If you describe defender, you think Steve Walsh, head the ball away, clear the ball away, get into rows. He did the basics of defending, which a lot of defenders don't do anymore.
No, football's changed massively, hasn't it? Over the years, bullying him would be off in 5 minutes in today's game. I mean, you don't get defenders like that now, do you? You don't really get like your Vinnie Joneses and your players like that of them calibre in these day and
Terry
age.
Hurlock, remember him?
I think he's well before my time.
There's so many players from even that time. We had Kevin Muscat. I mean, the guy was a maniac, and like you said, even Stuart Pearce wouldn't survive in this day and age.
Nope. Manny, let's talk Leicester v Wolves. I mean, let's talk about the opposition first before we get on to the game. Wolves sit 19th. I mean, not what you would have expected.
No.
I mean, you've conceded the most goals in the Premier League. I think it's 40. Talk to me about Wolves this season. Started off with Gary O'Neill, and now you're into new manager with a new era of Vitor Pereira.
I mean, last season, Gary came in right at last minute, 3 days before the season, and he kept us up. So that's a success. He came in. He probably wasn't, Lopetegui, all the saga. I won't go over that. The manager that we sought after, then we got rid of, brought him in. He keeps us up, but the last 10, 12 games of the season, we were dire last season, and we fell off after basically securing our Premier League status. And so the writing was on the wall. And then, Max Kilman wasn't perfect for us, but he was still our captain. He was still, a centre half. We sell him in July and never replace him. So we sold him really early, which was good because we knew we were going to sell these players. Pedro Neto, who was lethal when he played, but only actually played a quarter of the games in his Wolves career because he was so injury prone. So we got 2 good fees, and we just thought this money will be invested straight back in. We did buy players: Rodrigo Gomez, Pedro Lima, Carlos Forbes, but none of them are featured. So they haven't really featured. They haven't really broke through. They haven't really been blooded. And we were crying out for a centre half. We've got rid of Max. Craig Dawson's getting on a bit. We're down to the bare bones in defence, and we had to sign a centre half. And then we go and sign a goalkeeper, Sam Johnston, who wasn't an improvement on what we had. they're both a much of a muchness.
Yeah.
Then we sign Andre, this Brazilian superstar midfielder that plays for the Brazilian international team, when we're overloaded with midfielders. And that's just a typical Fosun signing, 20 million quid, get him in. 2 years later, we'll flog him off to City or Liverpool for 60 million. But it wasn't what we needed. So we wasted 30 million quid when we should have strengthened. I thought we needed two centre-halves, one to replace Kilman and another one to cover Craig Dawson, who isn't going to play every game. A couple of games he's out with a strain, he's out with something happens to him, so he hasn't got that longevity. So we went into the season without centre half cover.
Yeah.
Gary O'Neill then decides to abandon his process of playing four at the back. He admits that he can't play because he hasn't got the personnel to play the way he wants. And we've come a cropper. We did have a tough start, but we can't use that as an excuse because it's the Premier League. It ain't easy games, you know. And we were leading up to 70 minutes against Villa or against Newcastle. We got back against Liverpool. There was many games at half time. We're in the game. After 60 or 70 minutes, we're in the game. And then suddenly we collapse, and conceding goals has been, we've kept one clean sheet, and that was against Southampton. You know, we let Everton, who never ever score 4 goals for fun. We gave 3 penalties away against Bournemouth. The writing was on the wall, and I thought he should have possibly have gone after the Brentford game. So Brentford away, we went there after having a really tough run, and we've lost 5-3, and that flattered us. 5-3. They were all over us. Every set piece they were threatening, and we just looked so clueless. No shape, no system, nothing off the bench. The substitutes were poor, and I thought the writing was on the wall then, and they just carried on, and we've just gone through a 4-game period of all games that we should have looked to have got points from, and we've lost all 4 games, and then they've got rid of him. So that's the situation we're in. We can see goals for fun. We hung around with our manager, I think, a little bit too long, and now we're expecting this guy to come in who's a little bit unknown to produce a little bit of a miracle for us. But it's given us a bit of a boost, a bit of hope, because you know, it does give you a boost, someone new coming in, fresh ideas. But you know, we're sort of on the bare bones because we're losing a couple of players potentially with bans and you know, stuff that's gone on, and off the pitch where we've lost our discipline over the last few games. So it was a complete mess, to be fair, on and off the pitch, complete mess, and a lot of dissatisfaction with our ownership, this self-sustaining model where we're selling players, but we're not really investing all the money that we're getting in. So we're actually making net profits. I mean, no one makes profits in the Premier League. Premier League wasn't there to make profits. Premier League was always there to, you know, you're trying to sustain a football club and get your position in the league. But, you know, our owners use it as an investment tool, then it's not going to return their investment. And if we get relegated, it definitely won't. So we're in a bit of a mess, and we need to get out of it very quickly.
Yeah, I think this is the type of mess Leicester want to make worse for Wolves, if I'm honest with you, on Sunday. Huge game at the King Power Stadium. Some would call it a 6-pointer. I mean, don't know if you'd agree with that sort of comment.
100%.
Is that how you see this type of game, a 6-pointer between obviously Wolves and Leicester? Obviously, it is this mini league, isn't it, Manny, this season with the likes of Ipswich, Southampton, Wolves, Leicester, Everton, and them types of teams. I think to stay up in this type of league this season, you just got to be beating each other, haven't you?
So we had 2 of those games recently, Everton and Ipswich, and we lost both. So they are 6-pointers because, you know, we beat you guys. We're 2 points behind you. You win, you go 8 points ahead of us. I mean, that's huge. An 8-point gap when we've only got 9 points. So I think for Wolves, there's not going to be more of a must win than Sunday, because it puts a huge gap between us and you guys if you win. And we already gave Ipswich a leg up. We've given Everton a leg up, and we can't afford to give another team, because our fixtures after this don't get any easier. They get harder. This was our patch to pick up points, and we've picked up none. So we are in a real dire situation, and it's and we just hope there is a new manager bounce. bit of organisation. That's what I think Wolves fans are crying out for, is an organised identity, style of play, and he did indicate that today, that's what he wants to instill, an identity and get an organised team, and and we'll see.
Yeah, I think this is the same for Rude. Wants to see what he can work with, and then obviously January's going to be massive in it for both clubs with two new managers. They can see what's working for them and what's not, and they can get rid of what ain't working and get rid of them types of players who doesn't fit the system. Obviously, there's quite a few at Leicester where we can get rid of in January, like your Ed Wards and that, send him back to Palace because he's hardly played. I think he's on 90 grand at Leicester. I think we paid 90 grand of his 120 grand of wages. So it's a bit of a still situation for Leicester where we seem to be paying out these big wages and these players ain't playing. And you're thinking, maybe we should have probably not done this type of thing again. But no, I think this one's it's a massive game.
You know what? We could really swap positions, me and you. We could swap positions on this. I could be Leicester and you could be Wolves because you've got two teams. We've conceded 74 goals. I was just reading 74 goals between us. That's horrific. But we both actually score goals as well. You're quite, in that bottom six, you've got more goals than anyone else apart from us. So we both score goals. We both concede goals for fun. And we've both got brand new managers who we both are a little bit thinking, is this the right man for us? Now, this geezer, Vitor Pereira, has come in having, how many clubs has he had? I don't know, 10 clubs? I don't know. He's had more clubs than I've got in my bag in the shed, and so that's a little bit worrying. But then in the press conference, he did say that, the Premier League is the pinnacle. The Premier League is where every manager aspires to be, and it's his first shot at the Premier League. So he wants to make a success of it, and he wants to stay at Wolves. And obviously, managers gonna say the right things when they come in. And I think our board will ditch our self-sustaining model for one window just to pull us out the crap, because I'm pretty sure he doesn't come to us if they haven't promised him the right funds in January to strengthen the squad. But we can't even wait till then. We've got to, these next three games, we've got you guys, then we've got United at home and Spurs away. So in that week, we can't afford to have no points, because that we'll be halfway through the season, and we've only got 9 points. So we're not going to make that up with all the will in the world. So we need 5.6 points from these next three games, a minimum, I think, and to get us back up there. And it is possible because United and Spurs, we know the way they are. They can beat everybody, but they can lose to anybody as well, and they do concede goals. So, but Sundays, all efforts have got to be on Sunday. Everyone's got to be together, the fans, the team, and the manager, and somehow just pull out a result.
Yeah, I think this is a game where we'd expect a reaction from the Leicester players after that 4-0 drumming at St James's Park last weekend. You guys obviously the same, aren't you, after losing to Ipswich very late on? But, the games what we've got, I mean, we've got Wolves on Sunday, then we've got Liverpool on Boxing Day, and then we've got Manchester City after that. So it's like...
So that's what I said. We basically, we mirror each other at the moment.
Yeah, we do.
In terms of the way we play, the new managers, our runs that are coming up. And it is, I'd rather be in your shoes because you got 14 points, not 9. We've got 9 points. And we're thinking... it's December the 22nd, that game, and that's a horrifically low total, and it's only because there's other clubs who are not doing so well too. I think it was a record, wasn't it? The number of clubs that hadn't won up to that stage of the season. There was about 4 clubs quite deep into the season that hadn't won a match yet, and so that sort of keeps people around us, because any normal season we might have been adrift by now, and it's got to change. It's got to change very, very quickly. The players have just got to get on board. But we've got a superstar in Matheus Cunha, who is 8 goals. I don't know how many assists. He's always involved. we beat Fulham. We went away and beat Fulham 4-1, and he produces
Yeah.
a worldie of a performance. And then the last two games, especially last couple of games, he's just gone off the boil a little bit. Then he scored against Ipswich late. He's always got a goal in him, but what he did at the end of the game against Ipswich, if you've seen it, I
Elbowing that
mean,
bloke in the head.
that's horrific, in it. You cannot
Mm.
do that. That's ill discipline. And some people say, "Oh, that's passion. We need our players showing passion." I want my players to show passion on the field in the 90 minutes, not
Yeah.
beating up a security guard and putting the elbow and throwing someone's glass. That's not passion. That's a
It's
ban. He will get banned. But
yeah.
we've heard today that he possibly will be free to play Leicester because they haven't
Yeah.
made the decision on his ban. So he probably, after the game against Leicester, probably will face a lengthy ban, and that makes it even more important for us on Sunday to try and to grab the points, and uh, it's going to be. It's going to be one of those games, and I don't think anyone's going to run away with it. It's going to be edge of
No.
your seat, fingernails biting. We're going to be hiding when every time we get a corner, we do this as Wolves fans. Every time we concede a corner, because anything could happen, and I don't need to tell you and your coaching staff and your team. They'll have watched Wolves and know where the weaknesses are, and you'll be trying to exploit the weaknesses. Hopefully, our manager in a couple of days has instilled something that will organise our defence a little bit better.
Yeah, this is the thing with Leicester. I think we've faced 80 odd shots in the last 4. So Wolves are going to think, yeah, Leicester's defence is there for the taking. If we can get at Leicester's defence, they'll crumble. Leicester have picked up 4 points out of the last 3 games. Obviously, Newcastle were a bit of a mixed bag in midfield. I think it were right off 5 and 6 choice midfielders. This is the type of game we need our attacking threat, because Wolves are there for the taking, aren't they? If we can get at Wolves, then we can score goals. But then Wolves, the flip of the coin, will think, well, look at Leicester's defence. They could do the same to us. This is the type of game where we've got to take advantage of your misfortunes at the minute. And this is a game we're going to be eager to win, being at home as well with the 2 games coming up after. This is a game where we have to go and get points out of. I mean, we said it when we played Everton. It's a must-win game, and the form they were on going into the Leicester game, and we ended up getting a point. We weren't happy with that, but this one's got to be 3 points, and we've got to put the best side out possible. We've got to defend when it matters, and we've just got to give Wolves minimal chances against us, and hopefully we can have more shots at your goal and score more. So, yeah, this is the type of game where I think both teams will score in it. I mean, we rarely keep a clean sheet if we talk to our Leicester.
Mate, I tell you what, you can start at 2, you can, because we're the same as you. I mean, we have to score 3 for a draw. It's 2.5 we're conceding. So if you're conceding 2.5 goals, you just basically saying 3. If you're conceding 3 goals, what our strikers thinking, I think our strikers have got Larson and Cooney have got 14 goals between them. Wow. After 16 games, that's pretty good for a side down the bottom. It's actually really, really, really good. And the return they've got from those goals is 9 points. That's, they probably bang in their heads and thinking, what have we got to do? And it is down to our organisation, our defence. And it's not, I think in open play, we've been defending better in open play, but set pieces, we just crumble. Corners, free kicks. Everton had a field day. Ipswich obviously scored the goal. The guy who scored, Jack Taylor, hadn't ever scored in the Premier League before. He didn't have to move. He stood in one spot and literally jumped up and headed it in. He didn't have to move, didn't have to run. The goals against Brentford just make your eyes water. What we did there, we just gave them the freedom of London, and it was just horrific. And it's this set piece, and we sacked the set piece coach. We got a set piece coach from Man City. So you're thinking, oh, we've got a Man City set piece coach. A few games later, we sacked him, and actually, we then progressively got worse at defending set pieces after we sacked him. And so that's, I think, with this new manager, the first thing he's got to look at that table and 40 goals. Are you mad? Because if you don't concede a goal, that means you don't lose the game. And when you're at the bottom, that's how you've got to think. You've got to think like that, because You can't play gung-ho football. We'll score 5 if they score 4. It just doesn't happen every week for teams down the bottom. You've got to have the ability to keep clean sheets. We've kept 1, and that was against Southampton. And in that game, Southampton did have a lot of the ball and threaten. They just don't. If they had a forward line, they would have scored that day, but they don't have one, and that's why they're down the bottom. We've got the forward lines.
Yeah.
Well, we just got nothing at the back. So yeah, it's crazy season so far.
I think ours is the same, Manny, to be fair, touching on the organisation, and getting that defence solid at the weekend, and
You've like switched from a 5 to a 4 to a 5. I mean, what's your preference now?
I mean, under Steve Cooper, it was more of a back. It was like a back 4, and then it's like either the left back or right back goes into a back 3, and it is an extra centre off. And then with Van Nistelrooy, it's a back 4, simple back 4, and then you're playing like the 2 centre defensive midfielders like your Ndidi and Samore, and then you've got your 3 in front where you got your Buenotes, your El Canus, and McAteer, and then you've obviously got your winger of obviously Mavididi or whoever plays, and then you've obviously got your man in Jamie Vardy. So it's different formation. It's a different style to what Rude's approach is to a game than what Steve Cooper did. I mean, Steve Cooper.
Rude seems to have preferred our old boy in the back line, hasn't he, so far?
Conor Coady is a leader, isn't he? That's what you want in your back line, though, isn't it, Manny? A leader who's going to lead from the back. I mean, goalkeepers are not captains, let's be fair. You want a strong leader, someone who knows what they're doing in the game. And Conor Coady doing it at Wolves, and now he's doing it at Leicester.
Conor Coady, I mean, in my lifetime, has been the best. I didn't see Mike Bailey, who was a great captain in the early 80s. So in my lifetime, he was the best captain I've ever seen down at Wolves. And for somebody who we bought for £2 million, the guy took us to Europe. He took us to the Premier League. He went on to play for England. We got value for our £2 million and then some. And he left, not happy. He sort of fell out with Bruno Lage at the time. Yeah. Don't really know totally what went on, but he wasn't happy, and he was sort of, just cast aside. And you're quite right. He is your supreme leader. He's the organizer. He's a shouter. Yeah. And he pulls people into position. He guides young players. I remember he told me, we talking about because he used to order samosas off me for Samosa Saturday. So I just got to know him. And like people like Ruben Neves stayed for 6 years at Wolves. Ruben Neves stayed for 6 seasons.
No.
Instrumental. Have you got me back?
Yeah, I've got you back. Yeah, go on, carry on.
So Conor Coady was instrumental in, he was like the bond, the glue between all these players. He became best buddies with people like Ruben and sort of guided and coached them and made them feel welcome and really part of the town and the city. And all these players like bought into Wolverhampton and they lived close by. Nuno was a legendary manager. We go 7th, and as soon as we finish 13th, we sack Nuno because 13th was not good enough. But we'd bite anyone's hand off for 13th right now, and that was our downfall. We got rid of those leaders, and Conor Coady was that leader. And I'd have him back tomorrow just for his organisational skills, if nothing else. He did send me a message the other day because obviously Leicester are playing, and it was kind of like I did say to him, I said, is there any way that we can both win this game? Obviously that's not possible, and I wish him well. I hope we beat you and he can score a consolation goal in the last minute. I don't mind, and we'll clap him and sing his song. But
I'll be going.
He's a really good lad. He's a really good human being, really down to earth, and it's all he missed at our club, and that's what we've lacked from boardroom, from chairman to boardroom, to sporting director to on the pitch. We lack leadership. If you look on the pitch now, we gave the captaincy to Mario Lemina, and he is a really great player in terms of he gives everything, but he suffered this season, and into his own standards, he's made a lot of mistakes. He's made a lot of errors, but he was played in several different positions to his defence. He got very emotional in the match against Liverpool, where he was in tears on the pitch, and then he did what he did against West Ham, where he's pushed his own player, gone in for the coaching staff, had a go with Jared Bowen, and you think that's too emotional. You need your captain is the one who should be picking players up. Your captain should be the one quietens, organises and keeps everyone together and focused. And we've handed the captaincy to Nelson Semedo since then. And that was just for the last game. He was a right back, and like you just said, right backs, goalkeepers. The captain should be at the centre of the park. And our manager today in the press conference has said he's still to make up his mind who's going to be leading. It probably will be him because he hasn't had that long time, and we do lack natural leadership. We have got a really good player in midfield called Tommy Doyle, who we signed from Man City for just £5 million. He's a bit of a Rolls Royce of a midfielder. Never really gets too much chance because we've got these Brazilian, superstars like João Gomes, Andre, and obviously Lamina in the midfield. But when he plays, he does really well. He's very cultured. He can spray the ball about. He keeps it. He looks forward, and maybe he's one in the long term that we can look at as having that captain's role.
Manny, what's your thoughts of Leicester ahead of this one?
Well, you know what? I think, when teams come up, we know, everyone knows, when you come up, the gap has got so wild now.
Yeah, it has.
Yes, there are clubs like Brentford and Bournemouth and Brighton, and clubs have, but they have been in the season. You have to just survive that first season, but then you have to invest and go again. And Brighton do it brilliantly, don't they? They sell players for big fees. They bring a whole lot of money in. The scouting network is just excellent. Even with the managers, they just seem to have their next managers lined up already. And if you haven't got the organisational skills to a T, then there's a bit of a chink. You'll fall. And I think that's where you see teams like Leicester, especially. If you just rest on your laurels and think that the team that I brought from the Championship is going to be okay, then it's not. It's not going to be okay. And Southampton, with all the will in the world, they're with 5 points. They're not going to really recover that. So you could possibly write them off, and then it's a bit of a free for all. And I expect Leicester to be down there because I just don't think you came up and you didn't really, fully bring in players that opposition would look at and think, oh, they've got him. When I look at your side, I'm probably still looking at Jamie Vardy and thinking, oh God, can we keep him quiet? Because we know he's got a bit of a record against us. He has the banter with our fans. I don't mind that, to be fair. He does all sorts. He winds us up. But that's good because that's the kind of player we want. We want that type of a bit of edgy player that does wind the opposition up in the right way. And we signed Diego Costa famously last year just to give us that little bit of a boost. And the year before, and so I just think you didn't strengthen when you came up, but you've done well. I think your 14 points ain't bad compared to like what we're doing. It's not bad, and a win takes you to 17, and then you suddenly think, oh, we're okay. We can breathe for a bit. We can breathe for 2 or 3 games, and then Rude has his time. I'm a little bit. I don't know about your manager. I think there's a risk involved. People can get highly rated. People can have good footballing careers, but management, we know. Look at Steven Gerrard. There was no better player on the field for organising his team. He gets the job as a manager. He just doesn't know what to do. Frank Lampard's been similar, where he's just been a bit of a rabbit in the headlights. So these players who sometimes perform on the pitch don't really come off as managers. And I'm pretty sure Leicester fans are probably apprehensive of how it's going to turn out, what his style's going to be, and will you be able to get those results? I think you're pretty much in the same mindset as what we're in. It's a big unknown, and January is going to be massive for our club, but also your club. I think because Leicester. Let's be honest, you're the last club that broke the mould. You know,
Yeah.
this sort of stranglehold of Liverpool, Arsenal, Man City, Chelsea are sort of entering it. The others have just sort of flirted on the sidelines. It was only Leicester that breached that gap. Will that happen again? Very unlikely ever, to be fair, because the way the football has gone even further away, you know, with the money and the investment and what I think was it Man City reported they made 715
Yeah,
million
Man
quid in
City,
one
yeah.
year. You're not
It's
going to compete
madness.
with that. You know, you
Madness.
cannot compete with that. The only thing that will stop them is this, all the charges against them if they come to
Yeah.
fruition. But so it is a bit of a survival game. But as soon as you enter that mid-table area, then there's always a chance with a few good results that you're on the edge of Europe as well. Here we are, Brentford, Bournemouth, and Fulham, and you know those teams aren't far away from the European places, and they're not that better than us in terms of playing squads. They just have better organisation, but maybe a better managers
Mm.
who've had time, you know, time to impress and have their way. And I hope our manager gets time, but the fact is, it results, isn't it? If you don't get results and we start losing, then the pressure goes on straight away. I just hope he gets lots of time. One thing I have to appeal to Wolves fans is, you know, this isn't on Vitor Pereira with our
No,
position. It's nothing to do with him.
on
You
the
know,
team.
or Rude. You know, it's not really. They've come into dire situations
Yeah.
and they're trying to rescue it. So if things slightly don't go right, it's the manager is I think the last person, unless it goes really horrific on the pitch, you know, where you're totally out of control. I'm pretty sure he's experienced, he's 56, and he'll instill, I hope, discipline and organisation, the ability to keep clean sheets, the ability to head a ball away from a corner, you know, just basic stuff that we seem to be like, you know, defenders never used to let the ball bounce. It was always cleared, and
Yeah.
everybody wants to bring it down on their feet. Well, sometimes you just got to get your nut on it and clear it, and that's it, you know. And I hope he instills that organisation, but you know, and I see Leicester as just a mirror of what we are at the moment.
Mm.
But like I said, you've got a few extra points, and it's just hard to call, really, really hard to call. And one result changes it. You win a game, and suddenly you go like that, and you think, oh, we could do this. And that's how we felt. We had 4 games unbeaten, where we beat Southampton, beat Fulham, 2
Mm.
draws against Brighton and Crystal Palace. You know, we got 8 points from 4 games. The whole country saying, well, Wolves have recovered, so that was a false position. And then we haven't won again, you know, and we're not in a false position. You are where you are
Oh, there you
because
are.
you're not good
Yeah.
enough, you know, and we can't blame. We've had VAR go against us. That's documented since last year. We don't get on with it. We're the only team that voted against it, you
I hate
know,
it.
scrapping it. And that probably didn't help us because, you know, it probably causes more issues than well. But we can't look at fixture lists. We can't look at VAR. We've
Mm.
conceded 40 goals as a defence, and that's not on. That's not on at any level. It doesn't matter what level you're playing Sunday League football and your team's conceded 40 goals after 16 games. You're going to ask questions. So he's got to shore that up. If we'd have scored 10 goals less, but
Yeah.
conceded 15 goals less, we would have been in a better position. So yes, scoring goals is really, really important, and we used to struggle with that. We've solved that problem, and we've left the bloody back door open. So, you know, it's going to be. I don't like Sunday games. Football's
No.
supposed to be on a Saturday, 3
Yeah.
p.m. and maybe the odd match on the Sunday, but we never seem to be playing on Saturdays, especially away from home. I think the Spurs game Sunday as well next week. So it's man, it's just going to be, you know, everyone's got to turn up right. They've got to start right, intention. You know, those first few minutes just to get your foot on the ball and get a
Yeah.
foothold in the game and start to see the pattern develop because we don't really know. I pretty much I would say to every Wolves fan, they're probably thinking we don't really know how our manager's going to line up, what his
No.
formation's going to be, who the captain's going to. So there's lots of unknowns. We're going in there, you know, hour and a half before the game when the team sheets are released. That will be our first sort of clue, you know, what he's about to do. But I'm looking forward to it because it is a new manager, and and there is sometimes a new manager bounce. A bit of some players. Andre, who's a Brazil international. Again, I didn't think we needed him, but he is a well thought of player, and he came out straight away. He didn't do a single statement while Gary O'Neill was there, and he's said straight away, it's great to see this manager because he speaks the language that most of the players speak, so it's easier for us to communicate and take on board his messages. So sometimes you think, well, maybe that was because we had a full English coaching team, and there were traditional English blokes like Sean Derry and Gary O'Neill and traditional, they're not there to mince their words or anything. So maybe, if it's more comfortable for the players to understand the instructions, I do think we've got better players than where we are. Not that we should be in Europe or anything, but I do think we should be, 7, 8, 9 points better off than where we are now with the squad that we've got. We have got some really, really talented players, so hopefully he gets them to tick.
Yeah, I think with Leicester this season, it's about staying up. Like I say, January's massive for us in bringing players in that Rude wants, obviously bringing his type of players in. And like I say, both managers, have got to deal with at the minute what the squads that they've got. That wasn't made to choose them type of squads.
That's right, yeah.
They'd change them happily if they could do it now, you know what I mean? But it's how it is. They've come into a different sort of situation, and they've got to sort of get through this busy sort of December, and then January transfer window is the main. But like I say, with what you touched on with Neves regarding years, I mean, you look at Jamie Vardy's career, 12 and a half years at Leicester.
Yeah.
Won what he's won, and you never really think in your lifetime you see a player with 10 plus years at a football.
No way.
You look
we
at
had
Martin
Steve Bull, Steve Bull we had, who stayed at the club after the World Cup, especially in 1990. There was offers left, right, and centre for him to get away from our club, and he never left. And we always thought you're never going to see that again. So yeah, you do see that. Remember Matt Letizia, famously, the guy was an absolute legend at Southampton, he was scoring goals of the season in every game, wasn't he? He was, and yet he never moved, did he? He just stayed at that one club. And yeah, Jamie Vardy.
You don't really get that loyalty, do you, Manny, these days in football? You don't see it, but
you don't see it at all. But it's just the way the game's gone. The players are different. The methods of playing the game. We've talked about some of the players of yesteryear who just wouldn't fit into this modern game. Who just players used to get tackled and they used to get straight back up and run again.
It's all computerized now, isn't it?
Yeah, it is a little bit. It's a different. But that's the era. Era's changed, that they. Yeah. People played with leather balls and all sorts, and muddy pitches, and these guys play on carpets, don't they? They play on perfect pitches, and so they. I mean, passing from the back, Man City. Yeah, Man City did it because they bought defenders for 50 and 60 and 70 million pounds. Now we try and do it with, a defence that can't even keep a clean sheet, and it's so frustrating because when we do kick it a little bit longer, we've got a big man up front who's done really well, Strand Larson. I really like him, really good, old-fashioned number 9. Not really pacey, but that's not his game. His game is about movement, right positions. When the ball goes into the box, he does seem to come alive. He's scored 6 goals in a team that's struggled, which is a really good return. And we shouldn't be scared of trying to look for him and then win that second ball. And people might think, oh, well, that's old-fashioned football. That's football's changed. We don't want plays like that anymore. But sometimes you saw Crystal Palace last night. That long ball over the top, and Mateta beat the defence and smashed it into. So sometimes it does work, and it'd be nice to play champagne football and ping it about around your back line. But we've conceded 40 goals, so it don't work. So our goalkeeper can't kick. Both our goalkeepers can't kick. They're very much clearance goalkeepers who clear it. And if it finds one of our players, it's by luck, not by judgment. We've really struggled with distribution at the back. Even our players, our defenders, with Conor Coady there. Conor was brilliant at distribution in a back 5. he would play as a sweeper, 2 high wing backs, and he would just ping balls to. We had Johnny and Matt Doherty then, and he would just ping balls and find their foot every time. So the goalkeeper didn't have to do anything really; just roll it out to Conor, and he'll ping it 50 yards to
Yeah.
the wing back. We haven't got that, so our defenders can't do that, and our goalkeeper can't do that, and they can't. It's really struggling because they can't play. They can't play football like they can't play through because teams are pressing high. A lot of teams do. Look at Bournemouth. I mean, they just murdered us, and we knew they were going to press high. So you have to cancel that press by going a little bit longer. But we tried to play football around their press, and we got beat every time, and it was horrific. So it was clueless football we were playing, and it can only go one way. Really, it should only go up because it was
Yeah.
that poor. So
I
the
agree.
proof will be in the pudding. The proof will be
It
not
will.
just Sunday, in the next few games.
Yeah.
If things don't go right for us on Sunday, obviously we'll be on a downer. We'll be thinking, oh my God, we could go down. But that's again, that manager needs time. He's not going to just
Yeah.
produce complete
I
miracles
agree.
in just 90 minutes.
Yeah.
He needs a set amount of time, and we've got to give him that, regardless of where we are, how we do, or what matches we lose, because it's not his fault, And we're looking forward to it. I am looking forward to it. Well, I think the fans will really get behind Wolves. We've given. I thought even with Gary O'Neill, we did shout. You're getting sacked in the morning, and if we did, but we did cheer him as well. We backed him as long as we could. I think on the pitch, I think we did well for him.
Southampton.
Sorry.
That happened with Russell Martin at Southampton. They get to that point, and then you think,
that's right.
Thank him for what he's done. He did what he did.
A lovely lad, they were lovely lads. No one's. It's not against the person.
Yeah.
We know Gary O'Neill. We went against him as a human being. He seemed like a really nice lad. He
That's
talked
what
really
I mean.
well.
It's the football.
But it's just inability to perform at that level. He's a kind of manager. He could probably go into the Championship, get a club, do really well, and then build his career. But he was trying to build his career and his foundation in the Premier League. Well, that's not really possible because the Premier League finds you out very quickly.
No, it does. Let's have a look at the last 5 results then.
Don't bother, man.
Leicester's won 4 out of the last 5 against Wolves. We've drawn 1. Last time out at the King Power Stadium, Leicester won 2-1. Castagna and Iheanacho scored.
Cunha scored, I think.
Yeah, I think Cunha scored. Obviously, Cunha's still at Wolves, so he'll obviously look for a goal. And he's your main player this season, isn't he, Cunha?
He is. He is obviously, we know, realistically, the likes of Cunha, likes of probably Joe Gomez, the way our club is, unfortunately, our owners one day will be looking to cash in and sell them. And that's what we're frustrated with. I personally think long term, Wolves, the only way we move forward in a positive direction is if we have a new, dynamic, bright ownership with proper footballing people. Now, our owners could pull the plug on our chairman and our hierarchy and put proper footballing people in, but all the evidence is that they never will. I don't think they ever will. They just sort of they'll get them. Even if we stay up miraculously and we buy the right players and then we stay up, I think it's back to square one in the summer where they'll still be right. The self-sustaining model actually worked because we stayed up. Seems like we're a 13th to 17th club, and as long as we're in the Premier League and we've got the Premier League badge on our sleeves, that's enough. That brand is enough for our owners and for us to take ourselves to a different direction, not just on the pitch. Our infrastructure, our ground's falling apart, man. Our ground is. It was when it was built, it was one of the, the modern all-seater stadiums, 4 stands, look quite cool. But, one of our stands really poor. It's like falling apart and and there's been zero investment in any of the infrastructure for a long, long time. And PSR and FFP, they don't go against infrastructure. You can invest in your grounds, and so that's the clear indication for me that the owners have pulled back all spending, and it's pretty much you survive, make your own money by selling players, and this is your model: buy good young players, blood them, get them in the shop window, sell them for big money, and then we'll go on again. And that might work for a bit, but eventually it's going to catch you out, and it's caught us out now. It's caught us out, and we're on the cusp of possibly being relegated. And where does the brand go then? You know, we've got a record label, Wolves Records. That brand ain't going to do anything if we're in the Championship. We've got an esports team, ain't going to do anything because Wolves are in the Championship. Wolves are in the EPL, so that sells in Korea and China, and this is a Premier League side. If we're not a Premier League side, everything will lose out, and this is what our ownership cannot understand. And until I just personally think until we do get new investment in terms of a new takeover of people, the new chief executive, a new sporting director, then nothing really changes.
No, fair point. Manny, I've got two last questions for you. You start in 11. I think you're going to miss, is it Anori? Is it you're going to be missing at the weekend due to a red card?
Yeah, Ryan Aitnouri, he was the one who decided to beat everyone up in the last game, and
How do you line up?
So he got his second. Yeah, so we've got a real problem at left back because Aitnouri was pretty much on his own there. His cover was a guy called Hugo Bueno, who we decided to loan out to Feyenoord, and so it means Totti, who's one of our Totti Gomez, who's one of our centre halves, plays in a 3 or a 2, has played left back many times. So the option is either he plays left back or Matt Doherty, who's switched to left back sometimes. You know, even Nelson Semedo. It's a bit of a mess. So that left position is a bit of a mess, and I expect Totti will go out there, which will probably mean that we'll play with a back 2.
Okay.
Unless Lamina comes back and plays in this back 3, and that worked against Fulham, and then we tried it again, and we conceded 4 goals with him in that back 3. So I tell you what, it's really unknown. I don't know what this manager's thoughts are going to be, but I hope Doyle starts with Gomez personally. I really do. I just think, you know, they complement each other. I think they play well. And Cooney is obviously, you know, going to play with Larson up front, and the third striker, you know, I'm a bit of a Goncalo Guedes fan. So Guedes, again, Valencia 17. Oh, sorry, was that 30 million quid paid? 30 million quid from Valencia, and he had a good record. Did absolutely nothing for us. But you thought, how can a player that good be so poor? And this year, he scored 3 goals in the Carabao Cup. I think he scored 1 in the Premier League. He's made goals as well when he's come on. He made the goal on Saturday as well. He's never really started a run of games. He starts one game. We lost against West Ham, and then they threw him out again. So, you know, that really doesn't do much for a player's confidence. And I think that third position is open for a forward. And I would like a run of games with Cunha, Guedes, and Larson. But if Cunha is going to get suspended, then Guedes will automatically probably come in for a longer run anyway. So they'll be the front 3, I think. And Johnston will be in goal. I think Gary O'Neill made his mind up. I can't see that changing. It would be real surprising if Sarr comes in, but we got a new Portuguese manager. Maybe he knows Jose Sarr. Maybe he prefers him, and so we don't know. Maybe he might come in. That will shock us because Jose Sarr was shocking in the last couple of defeats before he was dropped. Properly shocking. You know, every time the ball went near him, you would just thought something was gonna, you know, to go wrong. So. Johnston, Dawson, and Bueno at the back. Totti probably left. Nelson Semedo on the right, and then, you know, either 3 in midfield, 4-3-3, or a 5-3-2. I don't know how we'll go, depending on what his preference is, and we just got to wait and see, I think.
Okay. Leicester. I mean, Hermanson could be fit for this game, so I'm going to go with Hermanson.
Have you got any injuries, you guys?
Ndidi be injured for this game, and then obviously long term we've got Pereira and Fatawu out. So Harry Winks is back. which is good.
Okay.
Stolasic is back as well, so he's obviously a goalkeeper, Stolasic. So maybe if Hermanson doesn't play, then he'll play instead. I don't fancy Danny Ward in goal, if I'm honest. I don't think any Leicester fan would, to be quite frank.
You can have our you can have our goalkeepers. We might win a game.
Might do, but anything's better than Danny Ward. I think the back four, Christensen and Justin will be the fullbacks with. See, will he go with Coady and Vestergaard because of the pace that Wolves have got up front with obviously Conor? So that's going to be interesting there. I tell you what, Conor Coady might play, and he might go with a Coady as well, or he'll switch it with Vestergaard.
He's a wolf, you know. He's a wolf. He'll be our secret agent. He will.
I want him to score the winner against Shulot tomorrow as much as the next person. Chance. Yeah, I think it'd feel good for him.
That will be the ultimate end of season. I'll draw the curtains and call it an end if he scores a win against us.
No, I think Harry Winks will play with Boubakary Samare. Front four, I'd go Mavidide, Buonanotte, El Kanouche, Jamie Vardy. So that's my team. I think that's a strong enough side to go and get 3 points. Manny sounds like they've lost already.
You know what? If you would have seen us play the way we've played, mate, then you would have.
Wolves and Leicester interested in signing Miggy Almiron on loan in January. Just info, a few lads. I mean,
well, I saw that. We've got so many wingers. We could honestly, our wings are.
We can't afford all these loans.
We got that many wings. You know, it's just we need backline players. We need leaders. We need
an old defence.
Backline players.
Yeah, we need an old defence. If we could sign 4 defenders in January, I think that's where we look for first, to be honest. But Manny, score prediction. I mean, how do you go in with this one? I mean, what's your head and heart?
Last 2 games, we've lost 2-1. So in a way, that's actually, even though we've lost, that's a success that we only conceded 2 goals in each of the games, because the previous 2 we'd conceded 4 each. So, you know, I just hope we just keep it tight. Possibly that 2-1 scoreline will be probably the scoreline on Sunday, I think, and it could go either way. So I'm going to go for Wolves to win 2-1. And you know, and get ourselves off to a good start, and you know, give the manager some confidence and give the fans a bit of confidence, and then you can sort of attack the game on Boxing Day home, 5:30 kickoff against United, who, you know, got a new manager as well, 2 Portuguese guys. So you're thinking, oh, maybe we could, but off the back of a defeat, that suddenly becomes a whole new ball game. So I'm going for 2-1 Wolves. Acuna with a goal to send us off, and I'll probably go for João Gomez. He's got a bit of a knack of appearing into the box. Scored a couple of goals, and you know, he scored away from home, famously, you know, at Southampton and at Spurs last year. So he's got a bit of a knack of sometimes popping into the box. So I'll go for Acuna and Gomez for us, 2-1, and probably that. Jamie Bloody Vardy will probably score against us, but yeah, so we'll see.
That's what all fans say when they play against Vardy. Jamie Bloody Vardy again. No, I think this is an important game, a very important game. You know, 3 points be massive for us to pull away from that relegation battle again. You know, depending obviously on what Ipswich do on Saturday, and. I think this is a game we've got to attack very well. We've got to be solid. We've got to go and put in some real effort in this game, you know. We've got to minimise, obviously, your chances. We need to score a few in this one, to be fair. I think both teams score. I think the defence is going to be key for us, you know. It's got to be tight as possible. And like I say, it's got to be... communicating from the off, to be fair, and I think that it's going to be key who scores that first goal. I'm going to go with Jamie Vardy to score. Rude will want a massive reaction from that game against Newcastle, so we'll aim to win the game, of course. Jamie to score for me, and I tell you what, I'm going to go Buonanotte, and for Wolves, I'll go Cunha. So, yeah, I think Cunha will play against Leicester, and then he'll probably be banned after for the remaining fixtures of how many games Manny's probably got for doing what he did. But no, it should be a good encounter between.
I just thought to myself,
it's always
both managers
when we play each other sometimes at the gate.
Yeah, but it could be. We could end up like just cancelling each other out in terms of we're that scared of conceding goals.
No side will want to concede. That's the problem.
We'll shore up, and we end up with the most drab 0-0 draw that you've ever seen. We've had a few draws in the past.
It'd be a bit of a cautious game, wouldn't it? Where both sides look over the shoulder and think, "Yeah, I hope we don't concede today."
But it is. I mean, I saw the table earlier on, and we've scored 45 goals between us. 45 goals is a lot of goals for two teams that are in the bottom five. In 16 games.
You'd probably
but
get that
we've conceded 72, 74. It's like that is a horrendous amount of goals. I think you're probably the second or third worst defence, aren't you? So we're first, you're third. I mean, that's just tells you where all the problems lie. Let's see. It's gonna be interesting. I'm looking forward to it. Obviously, I always look forward to games. I go with my boys, so it's a good day out for me. It's family time with the boys. You get to sort of speak to them and everything, and so
I agree,
I'm looking. No, I don't think Dawn's right.
Both sides will go out for the win, but we've got to take advantage of Wolves why they're on the form that they are at the minute, and hopefully we can do that. But no game's easy in the Premier League, despite what form any team's on, to be fair, in bad form and that. So hopefully we can go and really push on in this game. And obviously, the King Power Stadium, we've got to make it count, being at home as well. And home form's going to be key, isn't it, Manny, with Leicester this season and staying up as well.
Yeah, our home form's been dreadful. And we've won one game since
Southampton.
Manny,
thanks for coming on.
Yeah, brilliant, mate. Thanks
for a great chat as always. Let everybody know what you do, Manny, regarding charity and that, mate.
So I'm a volunteer ambassador for Dementia UK. Dementia's a condition that affects like 1 million people now. It kills more people than any other illness, and I've been helping them for the last 6 years. I've done giant walks and marathons and rode my bike. I walked to Chelsea in a couple of days for a match away at Stamford Bridge, and walked to Newcastle. And I did the last challenge I did was I walked around Molineux Stadium for 48 hours without any sleep, which was 187 kilometers and 275,000 steps. So it was a real and I it just shows you what football can do and what football fans do when they come together, because 95% of the stuff that I get donated comes from the fans of the football club. For Dementia UK, we're about £1,500 short of £300,000 raised for that charity over the years, and it's just been a really good ride and an enjoyable one, but also it just shows you, the impact that we can make, and we'll carry on in the new season and the new year, come up with some more mad antics to try and raise money and help as many people as we can. And obviously I met your captain. He met me on the stage at the Pride of Britain Awards, and he gave me a shirt with his name on. There you go. So that proves that he's a wolf. So Agent Coady, you do your business and look after us on Sunday. And he was there when he presented this. So this is a Pride of Britain Award, which I'm a Wolves fan, and Wolves fans holding trophies, it just doesn't happen. So
how can people donate?
Yeah, thanks, Dawn. I really appreciate it. So if Manny Singh Kang or at Pedal Singh, which is my Twitter, it's on all social media. My Just Giving link is pinned to my profiles on all my social medias, and I use the same link. So I'm doing the London Marathon in April, which is the 5th one. It's
fantastic.
I just keep saying yes every time I get a place, but and then we'll do something madcap again in the middle, maybe, or to the end of next year.
Big old
as you
Manny.
get older. Yeah, Shane Mussey, brother, is no blue. Oh, there's another Manny. How you doing, Manny? Yeah, so no, we're definitely not blue. Blue's not a colour that we like in Wolverhampton. We got too many. Yeah, blue is
But
definitely
no,
not our colour. So
Manny, thanks for coming on, mate. Do appreciate it. Everybody head
no
over
problem.
to Manny's Twitter, where
Yeah,
you'll find the link for the GoFundMe page. Go and donate. Give anything you can. Would be
thank you
appreciated.
very much.
And all the best with the charity work, the marathons, and of course that walk to Chelsea, my friend.
Yeah, thank you, Jack, and hopefully you'll be in tears come Sunday night.
We'll see if Conor Coady can get us that winner. Cheers, Manny.
Cheers, thank you.
That was Manny. Yeah, great for charity work and that. 48 hours walking around Molyneux, eh? Oh, that's some steps, But yeah, all the best to Manny and his charity work and that, and his walk to Chelsea. Great stuff going down like Mark McGee. But no, thanks to everybody who's watched. Appreciate it as always. Smash a like if you've enjoyed this stream. Subscribe to the channel if you're new and you haven't subscribed already. Please get down and do so. Also, let me know in the comments if you're watching this on playback what you think the score prediction that's going to be ahead of the weekend. It's a huge game at the KP at the weekend as Leicester City take on Wolverhampton Wanderers. There'll be a match day vlog out for that one, so go and check it out. There'll be a match preview for next week for Liverpool as we head to Anfield. There'll be a match day vlog for that. Then we've got Manchester City. So yeah, a lot of games now coming thick and fast in the Premier League for the Foxes. Fingers crossed we can get 3 points on Sunday. And also, have a great Christmas, everybody, and Merry Christmas from my family to yours then, and have a great one with your families and stay safe. So yeah, Merry Christmas, everyone, from everyone here at the Final Whistle. But thank you for watching. Take care. Have a great rest of your evening, wherever you're up to, and up the Foxes. Hi all, thank you for watching the Final Whistle. If you enjoy all our content, please remember to smash a like, share, and subscribe to the channel.